Hello, Heather Hughes.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So we are talking. You are in Utah. I'm in Jerusalem, and you did your master degree in Haifa University in the guide of Professor Israel Waismel Manor, and it's very interesting because you know now better than all of us what is fake news because you've been there. You see the industry in North Macedonia. So it's really amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's very interesting.
So can you tell me, can you describe how this industry works? Because as I understand, it's the whole Veles, the whole town.
hmm So, good question. It's a little bit complicated. I started looking into this thinking that it was done by a bunch of young men trying to change people's minds. And I, anyway, so what I did is I contacted some people who were in the region. They led me to other people. I got to know a few different people who are active creators of disinformation. And also I talked with the community. And what I found was actually a little bit different than what I read prematurely or before I actually did my research in North Macedonia. So the first thing is it's not very simple. And a lot of the information that these creators used, all these tools are actually free. A lot of them are free from the internet. So I also, in addition to getting to know some of these people, I took a course offered by Mero. He offers a marketing course that you could pay to understand how to create marketing, is what he calls it. It's called Marketing University. And it doesn't specifically mention fake news. He does mention it. He says some people were successful who took his courses, but the course isn't set up specifically to create disinformation. Although a lot of the people who have taken the course have found that it has been successful. So Mirko is he's the person that is he's the linchpin on how this all started. He back in the early 2000s, he was really curious about how to he was really into computer. He was into technology. He created a website. Well, he first he played a lot of video games, and in the course of making video games, he learned English, and then he started creating websites, and he sold a website to a major sports company. And in the course of selling that website, he then could buy a house, which attracted all the attention of his friends and neighbors in the community. During that time, everybody all of his friends were asking him, how do you do this? We want to make money too. And he started teaching them. And then he had the idea of creating a course that people would pay, and that he could create a university where people could also find ways to make more money. And so I went to these cities, Skopje and Veles, and beautiful cities. It's a former Yugoslavic region, and you could tell that there's still some economic there's not a lot of prosperity right now, and the economy isn't as strong. And if you can make money from US dollars or euros, that goes significantly further in that area. So for 30,000, 40,000 USD, you could buy a house in Macedonia and live well. So these people, it's a huge carrot. People definitely want to do this. So as I talked to people in the region, there were young people who were saving up money. There were mothers saving up money for their kids. A woman told me that she was currently saving up money and that these students were encouraged to do this because if they could earn what they would earn in a year would pay their taxes, would pay the salary for one teacher. So there weren't a lot of economic opportunities in the region. So that being said, it's very popular in the community and it's very well known. So Mirko then created this course where a lot of these students went in, and he was thinking, he wasn't anticipating the amount of students when he first started in 2013, 2014-ish. And so they all started creating these websites, and a lot of these tools Mirko found online already available for marketers in Europe and in the US, and he figured out ways to use those tools already available to make money for the people in Macedonia. And it starts with, they go and they have a whole program, and the program starts with first finding a good idea, finding a niche, so to speak, of something that's particular enough to have attention, but not too particular that it like, so for example, he uses Arnold Schwarzenegger is his first example because he's like, this is his official fan page, and he sends out pictures of bodybuilders and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these very strong pictures, and then he starts building that page. And then the goal is to use internet resources to build the page, find more likes, and the goal is to get about 500,000 to 1 million likes.
Whoa.
And then as you're building them, and there's ways to get the likes is tricky because you have to put in a sizable investment. So Facebook has a feature where you can select different things you want from the people that you're targeting. So you could pick some different, but you have to pay for it. And in order to pay for it, you're paying in USD. So a lot of these people are actually taking out loans to get likes, to get people to follow them. And he has tips of ways to spending less to get more likes. Like you would use a free giveaway for like this, and we'll give it away. And then you spend enough for that giveaway. It's a common way to get likes. Anyway, so after you build up your Facebook page, you also are building up your website, and your website has different things on it. You want an attention-grabbing headline, you want interesting content, which both would be tricky from a non-European or non-US citizen, and somebody who doesn't speak the local colloquial way of saying things. So how they do it is there's an online generator you could find on the internet where you could just generate a headline, and it's a catchy headline, and then use that. So they don't even have to think of it. They could just put it up there, take it. And then for the content, it was suggested to go to Quora or Amazon reviews and to find what people are already saying, put that into a document, and have that be the content of your article. In order to make money, however, you need to, like, all of this is great, but how do you make money? So Google Ads, you could put a little part in your website where you put a little a place for a Google ad, and if you get certain amount of clicks for a certain region, you get money. So if you have 3 Google ads, say on a page, and you have 500,000 to 1 million followers on Facebook, you get one article that is seen and pushed around, that gives you a significant amount of money. If you get, say, a penny or $1, it adds up very quickly. So this is very lucrative for these people to do this. And so what I understand, so there are about 5 people in the community that are reported through rumors to have made about $1 million from the campaign, the 2016 campaign, doing the US campaign between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And these people made these headlines that actually I read somewhere like of the 10 most prolific headlines or 20, the people here or people in Veles made about 4 of those top headlines, most prolific headlines within the United States during that camp of disinformation. One of them was the Pope endorsing Hillary Clinton, I believe it was. And there were a few others. And what happened was they built up these Facebook pages, and originally they weren't pro-Trump per se. They were like, okay, they had a pro-Hillary page and a pro-Trump page, but the pro-Trump page went further than the pro-Hillary page, so they focused on that one, and then they grew that, and then put these articles in, which went viral. And they have these websites that also are mimicking official like news websites, so they seem real. And Mero gave me the advice to do 80% true, 20% non-true. And that's how you get a lot of attention. And so mostly you have to build the trust by doing the truth part, but then you have to make it a little bit more interesting. And so that's where the not true part comes in. If you want to continue, so a lot of the goals are to build up a page, and then get a huge headline that would give you a lot of money. But the tricky part is after those headlines come, like it's found out that they're not true, it really does destroy the Facebook page. The Facebook people find out, and their Facebook pages are taken down. And so it is a risky business. So if you don't, so by adding the not true part, it is difficult to maintain a successful business. If you haven't made a lot of money up to that point, you probably will have to start reinvesting into a different page or purchase a page from somebody else. And so another thing they do is they go into Wikipedia and they look up local areas. Like they'll find photos that are local to the area and use those photos to create a web page or whatever it is that makes people feel like you're a local. So there's little tiny tricks you can do to get the graphics and the wording in order to make it seem like you are a local.
The website, the reason they did it is to get the impression that they are serious and it's something that you can trust it.
Yes and no. So I guess at this point I'm very cautious on what I trust after this research. Some of them seem very believable though, very believable websites. They look like official, good news websites. I mean, they didn't have the same titles as say like ones that you would know. They're close enough. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't have it in front of me of like ABC Newsweek specialist, something like that, something like that you would think was like a legitimate website. So, and they also, I've heard of people, I never had this actually confirmed, but there's a rumor in the community that they were asking Filipinos to write and produce content that would speak English better than they did. So, and I've heard of other people reaching out to different people trying to help push their agenda.
Mm-hmm. And do you know what was the source of the content? They got it, somebody from the United States, from the campaigns sent it to them, or they did it by themselves and tried to do like this?
So as far as the political content, so what they would do, this group specifically, they would be pro-Trump. So they had a lot of conservative content. They would take content that was already on the web and use it for their own. So whether it was small or like individual people putting their opinions on the internet, or using articles that have already been written by other people that they see went further, because there's another tool where you can see what actually is pushed out and what posts are gaining momentum, and then copy something like that. Content, it's honestly, which surprised me for as destructive as it seemed to be, that it was not as far as I could see, was not intended to be destructive. It was intended to be money lucrative. It was intended to be lucrative. So the content was, it seemed to be like aimed at veterans. It was aimed at conservative people, and it would have inflammatory titles that they would find through these title creators that would be very much anti-Hillary and coming up with extreme titles. That being said, it seemed the difference I found, at least what I observed, between a title that was disinformation and a title that was just a clickbait title was the amount of people not knowing that it wasn't real, and also that there was a form of trust before that it became a blatant lie. Whereas I feel like if you click something on the internet, you kind of know that it's, hopefully you know that it's for your entertainment.
Can you draw me the role of the money? So they are doing fake news. As you said, it's 80% that it's true, and 20 it's imagination. That's what you said, and you say that they were conservatives and they wanted Trump to win the election, and that's what drove them to do it, or somebody paid them from the state, from the campaigners to do it.
So I actually looked really hard to see if I could find some money trails from some campaign in the US or from Russia or from another country. And I couldn't find anything. Everybody was very insistent that this was a Macedonian based industry. I don't know if I'm not convinced one way or another. I do know that they made a significant amount of money. Those 5 people were reported to make $1 million. Others that were less successful apparently made about $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month, which in North Macedonia is a sizable income.
But where from the money? What was the system? Who paid the money?
Who paid them?
Yeah.
So, okay, good question. So as I was explaining before, you have the Facebook group that are the people who are interested and really into this topic. Then you have a website, and on the website, so as they go to the website funds these ads that are on the website, fund you, the owner of the website. One example, there was a woman who created a toothpaste ad where on the bottom of the toothpaste is reported to have, or it has different colors, and she made up the meaning of the colors and what she thought it was. And it went viral, and apparently it crashed 3 or 4 times, and the toothpaste, and then she got a certain amount of views and earned like $30,000 or $40,000 from that website. Anyway, and then they were laughing, and she was like, I made this up in my room, and they don't even believe the toothpaste companies, they believe me.
And why they chose the elections in United States and not another subject?
So I focused on the US because it was really big in the US, but yes, they target other areas as well. Where there's an election and there's conflict, there's money to be made, and I think
topic that trying to find something that make a lot of people interesting to read, and a lot of people in the United States, I'm sure that they saw this information.
Yeah, so I think there is a disinformation issue here in the United States. I think the media literacy is at a growing level, but probably not at a high level. There's also a lot of people who like to push conspiracy theories and disinformation. They feel they benefit from it. And But that being said, the other reason why the US and Europe are targeted is because the Google ads give you more money for a US click or for a European click, as opposed to a Macedonian click. So if you target these areas, you will get a lot more money from it.
It's very interesting that a poor place find and it's logic because it's a poor country, poor people that wants to make easy money because they can't earn in their country, and they found the internet as a target and a good place to make money, and they found the fake news that can make people come millions of people are coming to these sites, are not checking, just reading and sharing, and that's what make a lot of ads and money.
Yep, that's how it
That's
is.
the
And
road.
also, Mero not only has students from Macedonia, but from neighboring countries that are also very interested in continuing this business. They call it the business.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Very interesting, and it makes. What did you feel when you've been there for 10 days or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So, what was? Can you describe your feeling? You are coming to industry, and you can't even imagine that there are so poor people that that's the way they are living.
Yeah, I think I got a bit of Stockholm syndrome, honestly. I I initially, it was jarring to be there. It was a new place. And then I found, like, as I talked to these people, I started seeing that not all of them were young people. Some of them were fathers with families and sons trying to support their families, and people wanting to have basic things that I feel like are common in societies other societies where I've been in. And there's a part of me that wants that for them as well. And I put myself often in their shoes, and I thought, would I do something like this if I was in this situation? And I think, I don't know the answer because it's a hypothetical, but I see the appeal and I understand why they do it, which is tricky, but it's still really bad. So it's not a good thing to do, but if it's a way out of a bad situation, I can see why people would do it. And that surprised me. I didn't anticipate feeling so, I didn't anticipate seeing their side as clearly. And I, and I also didn't anticipate feeling their kindness and their goodness. And the fascinating thing to me was they didn't seem to think that what they did was actually wrong. It felt like it was, if the Americans didn't believe it, it was the Americans' fault. It wasn't their fault. It was naive people who wanted to believe whatever they were putting out there. And it's a little bit more nuanced than how I initially thought before I went there. Also, very good people, kind people. I wish that there was a way. Well, I wish there was a better way to get out of that situation.
Yeah. And it's good lesson for us, for the free world, to understand that we have to read and to be very, very careful when we are reading something, because it might be from suspected places, for sources, that somebody is trying to make money of telling fake news, and we have to be very, very, very careful,
Very
because
carefully.
you can't do anything, because it's not a robot, it's people with IP. Everyone, I thought about this before we spoke, that it's really it look very primitive, but it's very efficient. If it's an efficient way to make this crime, yeah, I see it like a crime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really amazing, and I'm sure that there are a lot of places. It's just you made field research, and you are brave that you dare to do it. It's not so easy because I can imagine that they know that it's not right. They understand.
There seems to be, everyone said that they were fine and they were doing what's right, but they were uncomfortably saying it. So while they said one thing, their actions showed something very different. And they were very cautious to even have people I knew talk to them, have me talk to them. Very, very cautious. It was a very sensitive topic to bring up.
What drove you to this research?
Good question. So I spent some time on Capitol Hill researching conspiracy theories that were sent in, and I was wondering how these ideas gained traction, how they started, how they gained traction, how they continued, how they lived, and I wanted to do more research on it, and this was a very timely way that that idea came into fruition. So it was perfect. Also, Israel, my professor, uh, also had the idea specifically of Macedonia. So he was very influential in this.
Okay. It's really amazing, and I'm happy that it was a research here in Israel, in Haifa University. I know very well Professor Waismel and Manor, and I wish you good luck in your academic way. You're going further to make your PhD thesis, or now
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that yes,
Yes.
you have
I'm
to write,
flying now, so wish me luck.
and you have to write a book about this. It's really amazing.
Yes.
Maybe to
So,
make even a film, although you are a scientist, but it's really, we have to tell people what is the role of news, that there is possibility that this is fake, and you are talking about 80% 20, but there are fake news that are 50-50, or 40 truths and the other is fake. It's really doing bad to human knowledge.
yes. Media, yes, there's all sorts of solutions on how to maybe correct this. Um, Media literacy courses, or just to be cautious while we're watching and while we're reading and understanding where and how something is being given to us.
And we have to understand that beyond this story, there are poor peoples. We don't agree with this, but we have to understand the equality, the difference between people, and the money or the possibility to earn money. And in such place like North Macedonia, although it's in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
that's a story that they are very poor and they are trying to do something else. And maybe it's a lesson for the world
Yeah.
to know what to do.
Yeah. There's much more we can do. I wish we could solve it all today.
Heather Hughes, I wish you good luck, as I said, and I would like to speak with you when you'll go further with your research. And shalom.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was good to be here. Shalom to you too.